Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up from August 27th through September 2nd. This week I read 2 books, I watched 1 show, I watched 2 movies, and I listened to 1 book. First this week we have The Secret Life of Sofonisba Anguissola, the most famous woman you've probably never heard of, unless you're deep into art history, in which case you probably know of her. This is a historical fiction book about the titular Sofonisba, and I have no idea if I'm saying her name correctly, but we're gonna go with it. She was an Italian Renaissance portrait artist, and she was really good from what I can tell from reading this book. So good that instead of her father having a dowry for her, he actually promoted her career and made it so that she could go to different places, learn from the masters, and be as good at this as humanly possible. And along the way, she met a lot of other very famous people, rubbed elbows with royals, and had many adventures as well. This book is told as though she is an old lady telling a student her life story, and she slipped in one lie and he has to figure out what part of her story is the lie. There were a few plot points in this that I could see coming a mile away, but I still really wanted to know how it was going to end, and I found it enjoyable. I also really enjoyed that there was a section at the end where the author told us which parts were not exactly historically accurate and which parts were totally historically accurate. The other book I finished this week I finished last night, and that's The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This book is about a woman who is house sitting in a very secluded area. Basically, she hasn't actually talked to anyone face to face for months because when there's deliveries of anything she needs while she's there, she avoids the delivery person. Her closest neighbor is about a quarter mile away, and they haven't actually talked face to face. They each have a telescope and a whiteboard and they keep playing hangman, but other than that, they don't actually talk to each other. As we meet her, she's just finished a horrible book on her Kindle, and Kindle pops up with a little thing being like, do you want to rate this book? And she's like, hell yeah, 1 star, this was garbage. And then in the comment section on Amazon, the author keeps telling her to change her star rating because he doesn't appreciate her star rating, but she holds fast that she is not going to do that. Over the next few days, some things start going a little bit strange at the place that she's taking care of, and it goes from there. That's kind of the setup that people know going to this book, and I don't really want to give you much more than that, other than this is a book about grief. Something happened in her past that she is clearly running from, so we do get to figure out what that is. And along the way, there are a few tropes in this that I do not really appreciate seeing in fiction, one of them having to do with how people with certain mental health issues are treated, so just know that going into it. However, this did have a really good amount of twists and turns. Right when you think you know what's happening, maybe you don't actually know what's happening, and I appreciate that aspect of this book. On to the show I watched all 6 episodes of Blackbird. This is a limited series and it's all about this man named James Keene. This is actually based on a true story, and as I'm recording this, I'm actually reading his book about this situation as well, just so I can really know how well the series portrayed what was going on, at least from his perspective. From the mid-90s to previous to that, if you asked anyone in his small town what's up with Jimmy Keene, people would be like, he can do no wrong. However, he was eventually busted for being a big-time drug dealer of his area and sentenced to 10 years. A few months into that sentence, however, his prosecutor came to him with a very strange deal, a deal you don't usually see. As it turns out, law enforcement on his case were able to realize that he was really good with people. Like, he could talk to any type of person and get them to tell their life story. And the thing is, they had also prosecuted this other man by the name of Larry, who had previously been convicted of murdering a young girl, but he might get out on appeal, and they really needed to get some new evidence to make sure that didn't happen, because not only do they know he killed this one girl, but they're pretty sure he killed other girls and they just haven't been able to prove it yet. That means they came to Jimmy and they said, we want to transfer you into the same jail as Larry, and we want you to get him to confess more things to you so we can keep you in prison. If you do this, if you find out where at least one of the other bodies is buried, we will commute your sentence. I want to stress that this is literally a thing that actually happened. I had heard about it in one of the many true crime videos that I watch on a weekly basis, and I needed to know more. I also really wanted to watch this show because it stars Taron Egerton, and I really enjoy his work. And I did not exactly expect his abs to have abs. Like, dude definitely really worked out for this role. The other thing I want to stress is the person that played Larry, which is Paul Walter Hauser, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I've only seen him in one or two other things, but he's always fantastic in everything I see him in, and he did an excellent job in this as well. Like I said, I'm reading James Keen's book about this, so I will probably talk to you about it next week, but this is such an interesting case that sounds like it's something right out of the movies, but it's so fascinating that it actually happened. This week I also went to see the Barbie movie, and I was highly entertained by this. Firstly, the cast is stunning. Going into it, I really only knew the casting of stereotypical Barbie and the first of many Kens. And let me tell you, I have had a crush on Ryan Gosling since he was on Breaker High when I was in my teens. And this movie did nothing to make me stop crushing on him because, oh my god. His performance was fantastic. I did not expect him to sing. I don't think that was a thing that I knew he could do. And he was just such a sweet himbo, and I love him for that. The music in this movie was great. The set design was great. As soon as somebody said, oh yeah, there's a weird Barbie, I knew exactly which person from the opening credits was going to be playing Weird Barbie because, of course. When it boils down to it, I just had a really fun time with this movie. The other movie I watched was actually a rewatch for me, and that's Queenpins. This is also based on a true story, and it's about these two women who built an empire because they got these coupons that they would sell to people for half price of the coupons, but the coupons were for free items. And it's all about this one guy who was tracking them down to try to figure out who was doing this. Who played that guy? It was Paul Walter Hauser, which is the other time I had seen him in something and been like, this guy is an amazing actor. I really enjoyed him in Queenpins, so when I saw him playing Larry, I was like, yeah, holy shit, it's the same guy, firstly, because he has this great physical transformation, but also it's a completely different character, and he's just such a great actor. I'm going to have to see him in more things. But I had mentioned to my roommate about this because I remembered seeing him in this role, and she had never seen the movie, so she watched it, and I rewatched it. And now I'm just like, he does a lot of things that are based on true stories, because I know he was also in I, Tonya, which I have seen, but it's been so many years that I'm like, I think I know which character he was, but it's been so long since I watched it that I can't be sure just by looking at like a still of him in the film. The audiobook I listened to this week is Lies by T.M. Logan. This is about a man who is driving his son home from school, and his son is like, hey, that's mom's car. And his son really loves cars, which is why he's able to pick out his mom's car in a traffic jam, and he's like, can we go visit her? And he's like, sure, why not? Let's go surprise mom. So he pulls over and tries to go visit with her, but finds her in this hotel restaurant having a very tense conversation with somebody else. So he's like, let's go wait for her in the car park. And when she comes into the car park, she leaves so quickly that he actually can't intercept her. So he asks the person she was meeting with what was going on, but that person basically wants to start a fight with him. He's very agitated, and the guy is way smaller than our protagonist, so he's like, I'm not gonna have a fight with you, but the guy ends up falling over, hitting his head. But at the same time, our protagonist's son is having an asthma attack, and he can't find his inhaler, and they have to rush home so he doesn't die. And by the time he comes back to the scene to make sure this guy's okay, he's vanished. He's also known for being very vindictive and a tech genius, so when things start going particularly wrong in our protagonist's life, he's pretty sure he knows who's doing it, however the cops don't believe him. This is another one with a lot of really great twists and turns, and I really wanted to know how it was going to end. I really thought it was going one way and then it would go another way. There is a trope near the end that I did not appreciate all too much, so note that going into it, but overall I found this highly entertaining. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!